you how you how you found us to begin with, because you were one of our first people to sign up for the CPD coaching for Project Pony. Tell me how you found us and a little bit about your journey.
Okay, we're foster carers, and we've seen from our children the how being around horses can actually help them in their mental well-being. We looked around for a program that was going to meet what we wanted. We wanted something that was going to be beneficial, that was going to be great for the kids to actually access the stuff to help them access the stuff that they needed. But we also needed to do it right for us. I'm quite particular about what I do. It has to be right. It has to be good. We looked around at several things in the area. Nothing was really out there that met our needs. You came along through an advert on Facebook, actually, and it was about the way of the horse, and we sort of looked into it. And then there's more things came along as you brought out the series for the CPD coaches. And basically, we spoke to you, and the rest is history. It met everything that we wanted it to do. Obviously, we came along did the theory online, and then came along to meet you in February, which was absolutely fantastic.
Great week,
oh, it's brilliant. It was really, really good. It was fantastic. I think we've made friends for life with a lot of people. Well, with a lot of the girls who were there. And, I think although it was only that 1 week, I think we've actually developed quite strong bonds between us all. And it's really nice, to actually to see and to feel and to be looking forward to coming back again, which is also fabulous. Really looking forward to doing it.
In a few weeks' time. My God, it's just coming around so quickly.
Yeah, I really look forward to it.
But if you think about this journey, I mean, we started out last September, didn't we, together? Yeah. And, you've done those. I mean, you had 11 modules of training. We initially started out with 8, and then we added additional ones in. You've done that 11 modules of training, and then you've done 6 days of training on site with us. And how does that make you feel now? How do you, having gone through that journey, if you think back to how you felt when you started out of, oh my God, I've got all this learning to do. How do you think, you feel now having done all of that?
It's been fantastic because, with the theory being delivered originally, and what was nice about the theory is the fact that it was scientifically based as well. So you actually know that you're getting something that is factual, because the science is behind it. Some of the stuff in our line of work we sort of touch on briefly, but it goes into a bit more depth, which is really good, because obviously you've got that much, you've got the evidence behind what you want to actually deliver as well. But then coming on and saying during the week, that was great because that gave us the experience of experiencing it, which was fantastic. And then going out, coming back and sort of like going out, practicing, delivering it to other people around us has been fantastic. It's made the process easy. It is in depth, but it's been easy to follow, which has been really good. And the benefits, are clear to see, really. It's great. I feel really confident about going out there and actually, going out and delivering. I'm quite happy about doing that.
Yeah, and I think you've been out as well, haven't you, to some of your local, is it care homes or like your governing bodies that govern you, or tell us about that.
Well, we have we have local groups as well for foster carers, and that's this is one of the things that I want to be doing as well, and that's actually working with some of the carers, because I've noticed that it has altered my mindset slightly, and how I am with the children that we have. It's given me a little bit of a different perspective. It's made my toolbox greater, so I've got more things that I can actually adapt outside of sort of like the actual equine side, but just more tools that I have in my toolkit that I can actually try when, you know, when the going gets tough, and it does sometimes, as it does for the carers and even parents, you know what I mean? And that's been really good to have that adaptability there, to be able to just change things slightly. But obviously, you know, and for us as well, I say it's been brilliant because it's just given that little bit of additional, you know, knowledge that we needed, and it's been great.
And obviously, you know, we taught you quite a bit about trauma in the programs, and you know, you're working with a lot of children that have, you know, no question, have been through trauma.
Absolutely,
You know, tell us about when you got back after you did your training, because we had a bit of a one-to-one, didn't we, a few weeks ago, and you were saying when I got back I was actually able to manage these situations much better than, you know, before.
I think it's almost like stepping back from, you know, some of the children have quite complex difficulties, and it's almost like stepping back from it slightly, and it gave you that different perspective, that allowed to probably see things a bit more clearly, and actually address things differently. And fostering for a good number of years, so we've seen lots of different things, but this gave a clearer perspective, if you like. And I believe it's actually helped change sort of the outcome for some of our young people. Even, you know, without actually going into the program and actually delivering it to them, I think the perception that we have, that I have today, actually, you know, it's actually altered. And I think that's major, because I think it has helped, you know, our young people in many ways, and through some very, very difficult times. And I think that's so important. And having the knowledge that we can, you know, hold that space for the young people, and actually allow them to actually achieve some healing, which is important.
Yeah, and obviously you've brought all these tools back into your family, and you've got quite a big family with your foster children as well. You know, you're bringing these new tools in that you and Mitch and the children can all learn to adapt, and not just use with the horses, but obviously what you've embodied in your learning, you can then help them with, can't you? And then take them to the horses and do it with the horses as well. But it's got this two-pronged effect, really.
Absolutely. So to be fair, the horses like it as well. The horses you know, we've been really quite lucky, and you know, the horses that we have anyway have lended themselves really well to sort of like the program, you know, which was not surprising, but you know, it's nice to see them actually doing a different type of work as well, which has been, and something that you know, you can clearly tell by how they are and how they interact, that they enjoy. So it has been really good, you know, across the board. And I say, you know, the children have adapted and done different things, and they've gotten really well. They've really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And it's really nice, isn't it? Because you took those children into one of your meetings with your was it like your local councillors or something like that, wasn't it? And they sat down with all their tool bag that you gave them, and then they got out all the bits that are your resources that you've created for the children, or you know, we've created for the children.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was actually a social worker, one of the children's social workers, and she was really impressed by the work that we were doing. You know, she obviously could see the benefit of how this can actually help, you know, children on a greater scale. So it has been, you know, she was really impressed with it.
And I think that there's a big thing out there where people think this is petting ponies, and you know, this is that there's no validation for it. People can't, you know, if they're perhaps not animal people, they don't always understand the value of what it is we teach. And you know, I go back to that saying that I always say. People say to me, I don't get this thing with horses. but actually you're teaching the science around the primary response to danger, which is the fight and flight, which we all have embedded in our body.
Yeah.
And now you're able to understand how a child's brain develops and how it's not fully developed until they're in the 20s, and if they've had trauma, that can be even longer.
Absolutely.
And so the logical part of their brain, when you're trying to say to them, like, listen, be logical, do this, is not necessarily there if they're in that primary response to danger, which is your fight and flight.
Yeah.
And equally, they can go into that freeze response as well, which is a totally different way for them to be. But most children, you see, with the anger and the flight part, which is them feeling unsafe. And the key with children with trauma is safety, making them feel really, really safe, because something has happened in their body that's been too fast. And we don't need to know what that is. We just know that there is something different that has happened in their life that they've not been able to cope with, and we need to work with the nervous system to help that calm.
Absolutely.
And everybody really post-pandemic should know at least the basics of how to be trauma informed.
Absolutely. And through working with the children and accessing different resources that have been sort of introduced through health and social workers, I mean, I know that post pandemic, it is I don't think there's anybody out there who in some way hasn't experienced some type of trauma.
Well, I don't think people really know what it is, do they? People, when you ask them, they think it's some kind of tsunami or an earthquake. But actually, when you really educate yourself to understand what trauma is, you go, oh God, is it really something? It could be really something simple that's happened in their body and cause them to create this default behavior that is the fight or flight. And when we work with a prey animal, obviously in the wild, they are very vulnerable to the predator. So for them, they act very similarly to the way that we would do if we were in danger or perceived danger.
Absolutely.
And the children really are mimicking the behavior of an animal in their responses. So you have the tools now to be able to help them better. And what a great way of teaching them. You've really upscaled yourself to be able to help them even better.
Absolutely. And it's a lot of it is about a lot of the children that we have or that are in sort of like the care system, obviously, as you say, have experienced trauma, and their window of tolerance for that, for anything, is so narrow. And if we can just actually help to sort of widen that, then obviously it's not just it's reflecting throughout their life. And it can only lead to them having a better outcome. And that's so important, because it's going to stop the whole system repeating itself. And if we can get in and do that, then that it is massive. And like I say, post pandemic, I think there's so many, and but it's probably trauma on top of trauma.
Yeah, and what we're actually seeing now is a lot of children that have had trauma, go to the traditional talk therapies, but actually that's not really beneficial to them, because they're actually going back to the thing that made them go into the fight and flight. And so being trauma informed is really knowing how to manage the nervous system, and you're changing their lives by not using the traditional talk therapy methods of healing trauma, because it actually doesn't heal trauma. We now know that. It's there for a reason. It has its place when we're able to talk about things to be logical. But when it comes to a child or an adult being unsafe in their body because they've had a trauma, the key is to go slow with their nervous system. And so I mean, we have so many more tools now, and it's fascinating how you've been in
fostering
for years, and like you've learnt this from horses.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing, and it is, you know, even sort of like just standing and watching sort of like the herd, it's just so it's so beneficial. You know, and I think even for us, you know, it is out in the natural environment. I think that is important as well. The environment that we're, you know, where we are, I think that's so important to sort of like children as well. And actually being out in the natural environment, away from probably a lot of the things, like the external, the, you know, like technology can actually be absolute nightmare, you know, and a minefield, and actually engaging in real time. I think is just so important. And I think that's what, you know, obviously we're trying to give these young people, you know, the abilities and the tools to be able to work through, you know, some of the trauma themselves. And I just think it's so important because, you know, they're the next generation, aren't they, really?
Yeah. And the last thing we need is not to have given them a chance to be able to change their lives. Because we
Absolutely.
grew up in a different generation where there wasn't phones and there wasn't PlayStations or whatever they are, and we knew how to go and have a walk and go into nature and be with animals and dogs and things like that. But you know, this younger generation that's coming through, we have to be wise and pass down these tools that you know, they need for their well-being, because if we don't help them now, it's our job as the adults to guide them and to be their co-regulators and teach them the
Absolutely.
tools to manage their life in a much better way, because everybody seems in overwhelm.
Absolutely, yeah, most definitely. And it can, you know, for very often with them, it can be 24/7
Yeah.
because, you know, there's no escape from it really.
Yeah. And
So
especially
it's
social media.
fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. It has its, obviously it has its positive sides, but very often for the children, there's not always, it's thought as positive, but it's not that positive.
Yeah.
You know, but it's great to actually see the kids getting out and doing. And
And
that's
you've got some little new ponies, I hear.
absolutely, yeah, yeah. We've got three little newbies, indeed, which is great for the kids. You know, because we've got some cobs and some thoroughbreds sort of thing. But so you know, a lot smaller. But saying that, even the bigger horses, you know, you can see where the benefit can be, especially for working with sort of adults as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So absolutely great. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it because we're rolling everything out now.
Yeah,
So yeah,
brilliant.
and again, the kids have really enjoyed that. But they've been part of, obviously, you know, getting the horses, going and seeing them, and yeah, it's been fabulous. It's been absolutely fabulous to actually involve the kids in that even. So it's been brilliant. We've had a fantastic time, and I'm really excited to be able to go and on a wider scale, probably be able to help, you know, more children than what we can just with
Yeah.
fostering type of thing. So
Well, I think if you can, you know, pass this amazing work around to your carers, you know, other carers, and also the organisations that you work with,
yeah,
you're educating people, aren't you? And
absolutely,
you know, what I've noticed in the 8 years that I've been doing this is that the industry is growing, and people are now going, actually, do you know what? Let's go and do equine therapy.
yeah,
But the great thing with our work is you're now part of, you know, our coaches, and you know, we can actually you know, support each other and grow. And you know, there's lots of different places out there that do equine therapy.
yeah.
How does this compare in comparison?
To be fair, there is no comparison. Um, you know, when looking for different around at different things, we saw lots of different bits and pieces, quite well known work, but a lot of it was not really given any strategies or ways for
Structure.
yeah to actually, you know, it was a way of, don't get, you know, actually working with horses, which is, you know, beneficial in itself. However, for us, we wanted something that was actually good. That we wanted to know was going to deliver,
Yeah.
and what we saw didn't particularly do that for us. So doing this, it's actually is structured. There's a way forward. We've got all the things we need. It's a proven piece of work as well. which obviously is very important.
Yeah.
So we know it works. We know the science behind it, and it ticks all the right boxes.
Yeah.
And it
And
needs
you know that it's being delivered, and I think that's key when anybody goes and learns with somebody. You want to know that they're doing it as well.
absolutely, yeah. But
And obviously,
there's nothing in the area for us that even mildly compares to it. There's horses for courses, so to speak, but we wanted the real McCoy, and that's what we got.
Yeah, brilliant, amazing. So tell us the name of your company and how
Okay.
people can find you.
Okay, it's the Horse's Secret,
Amazing.
and we are in on the East Coast in Lincolnshire.
Yeah.
We have a Facebook page at the moment, obviously called the Horse's Secret, and hopefully very soon we'll be putting a website together as well.
Amazing.
So we're all going in the right direction.
Yeah, amazing. And we're going to do a little post on you, and we're going to put it on our Facebook page as well. So anybody on the East Coast that wants to try your program, Project Pony, and the children's program as well, then they need to head over to you. And whereabouts are you on the East Coast?
Frisney.
Yeah. Okay. And that's in Lincolnshire?
Lincolnshire, yeah.
Okay. So anybody that wants to speak to Sue, then we're going to pop some notes in the bottom of this podcast that we're going to put out, and also we're going to put this on our Facebook page for people to link in and listen to your story and your journey. So just one last question: if you were to see your time over again, what would you still do this course, and what would you suggest to somebody that's sitting on the fence?
Yes, I'd definitely do it. Get off the fence sooner rather than later. I think realistically, absolutely. I mean, it is great because we were the first lot to do it, so realistically we couldn't have got in any earlier. But if you're actually thinking of doing it, go do it, because it has been, your knowledge has been absolutely invaluable. The support, we've been working with social care sort of sectors. I know the value of sort of like, we call it supervision. So we might have supervision every month as a foster carer, and knowing that you're there for us to say, oh, Dina, can we have a chat? In my mind, that is another way of supervision. And, just coming back to you and on a regular basis, just checking in and just sort of saying, hiya, how things doing, and being able to just recap, or if there's something, I've got this young person and this, being able to come back to you, who obviously has got, 8 years of knowledge plus, then that's really important, because no person's an island, and you need to be able to have that connection with somebody else. I just think it's really important across the board that it's done, and it's, in my mind, that's another way that it's done and job has been done properly, sort of thing. So I just think it's really important.
As one of our coaches, though, Sue, for me, it's really important that you feel supported and you're confident, and you guys are like bombing it. I've never seen anybody move so quick. You created this amazing relationship between yourselves. I've never heard anybody laugh so much between you lot on that week in February, and I'm sure it'll be the same again at the end of May when you're back again. And you have all like sprung forward. Nobody's actually not moved their business forward, have they? You're all out there doing it, and that's one of the key things that I hear a lot of the time, like, I've been and done my training, but I've not done anything with it. And like, for me as a single parent, when I did this training, I couldn't have afforded not to have done. I've really got to, like, I'd really got to get out there and like make it work. And you've all had, like Charlotte said to me, the business in the box, everything is there, isn't it, for you to there's no excuse, and the support's there afterwards.
That's it. Everything's there. It's actually being shown how to deliver, what is delivered, and then having all the scripts and the syllabus, and everything's there. Right down to handouts of what's needed, and that's all there, ready to go. So it's a no-brainer not to do it, really. Absolutely fantastic. And like I say, and probably the most important part is actually having you there as that follow-up backup. And that's just absolutely fantastic. There is nothing out there like it. And that's what's really important. It's just so nice to see. It's nice being at the bottom and watching it all happen. Do you know what I mean? We got in there sort of like, early, and watching it all develop and other people come along. It's really exciting. And it's really interesting. I mean, I must admit, there's been a couple of bits and bobs you've done, and I sort of like, it's popped up, oh, what's Dina doing? I'm just sitting and watching it thinking, oh, these are the new people sort of thing. It's been really good. It's been really nice to hear.
And it's nice for you to have been on that journey and then see new people come in through the way of the horse, and that want to make that change in young people or even adults or even teens. This program stretches across a vast, area and can make changes all over the world.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I must admit, my predominantly I wanted to work with sort of children. But as I was saying, when I set everything up, and I think I said it to the group the other day, having set everything up, it was like, it was great because I actually had this like light bulb moment. Went, do you know what? This would actually be really good for sort of like, I mean, I know you deliver to adults, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could actually see like an avenue to work with sort of like, I say, a lot of sort of foster carers or carers, and potentially parents even.
I mean, you're in the right place, aren't you, to deliver to carers the same as you. You're key. If you know it does it for you, then you've got to share it with them.
Absolutely.
Because it's like, and you've had years of training, but to learn something new that is, really unique, and a way for them to have better results and a easier life probably with their own foster children or their own children is really valuable. And I think the power of horses is just coming to the forefront, but we really want people to understand that it's not petting ponies, but it's really high quality work that changes lives.
Absolutely 100%. That is definitely what it does. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. So excited to actually go and get going now. It's brilliant.
Yeah, well, we'll be watching the journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you're the dark horse that's come from the back. You were right at the back, and then all of a sudden you've gone and you're front with everybody else. So it's been amazing to watch.
It was just okay. I think with the group of ladies that we work with, it was a lot of us about timing. And I think when things fall into place, as we've all seen recently, everything sort of fell into place. And, I think realistically, we're probably all about at the same level. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we all have our time.
Absolutely. And each one of you has come in at, a different sort of angle, if you like, from different backgrounds and different things that you wanted to do with the work. And some have gone a bit forward, and then the other people have come a bit like, a horse race, really. Not that I'm an advocate of horse racing, but and there's been this like, oh, that one's got their business set up, and oh, that one's now got a social media page, and then all of you are at the finish line. You're like, we're there, and I just can't believe how amazing it is, because it's, you're all ready to go. And I've never seen, in the training that I've done, I've never seen anybody like ready to go. And that's what's great for me. I'm so proud of you all, and I really want to advocate you being out there and being part of the way of the horse, because I think you ladies are all amazing, and I'm just heartfelt so proud that you're part of my business, and you're out there delivering the work that I know is life-changing for kids and adults. So the relationship will always be there, I think, between us, because you were the first lot, and you're just really special people that have come through.
Oh, thank you.
So we did say we'd have 10 minutes, and it's been half an hour. So
absolutely.
Right. So it's been lovely talking to you. I'm so grateful for you telling us about your journey and the amazing work that you're going to be out there doing. And we're going to be watching definitely. And I'm going to put some show notes in so people can find you on the East Coast.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me, Sue.
Take care. Speak to you soon.